You think you're just tired, but this isn't normal exhaustion. This isn't about needing more sleep or taking a weekend off. This is something deeper, something heavier. You wake up in the morning and you already feel drained, like life is pulling you underwater before the day has even started. You move through your routine with a fog hanging over you, disconnected, unmotivated, numb. But the truth is, this isn't just burnout. It's a broken reward system. Your brain has been hijacked by cheap hits of dopamine, little sparks of pleasure from your phone, your apps, your notifications. You're not lazy. You're addicted, not to drugs or alcohol, but to artificial stimulation. Every time you scroll mindlessly, every time you check your phone without reason, you're training your brain to expect instant pleasure and to avoid anything that takes effort or time. And slowly, that rewiring kills your ability to feel joy from real things. You find it harder to concentrate, harder to care, harder to feel alive. Even things you used to love now feel like work. That's not a coincidence. It's not weakness. It's conditioning. You've been programmed to crave the quick fix, and now the long game feels unbearable. But it doesn't have to stay that way. The first step is facing the truth. Your brain isn't functioning as it should, not because you failed, but because you've been living in a world that profits from your distraction. And now, it's time to take that power back. Somewhere along the way, joy started slipping through your fingers, not in a dramatic, life-changing moment, but slowly, quietly, until one day you looked around and realized that nothing really moves you anymore. The things that used to make you feel alive, music, nature, laughter, deep conversations, now feel distant, dull, almost irrelevant. And you wonder what's wrong with you. But the answer isn't that you've become emotionless or broken. It's that your brain has been rewired. Dopamine, the chemical that once helped you feel genuine happiness, has turned into a trap. You've become hooked on quick hits, endless scrolling, short videos, instant notifications. They feel good in the moment, but they don't last. And worse, they desensitize you. Your brain now craves constant stimulation, and when it doesn't get it, everything feels boring. Silence feels unbearable. Stillness feels like suffering. But it's not life that's become meaningless. It's your reward system that's been hijacked. You've been chasing counterfeit pleasure, and it's stolen your ability to feel the real thing. That's why you're always tired. That's why you feel like something is missing. Because deep joy, real, lasting joy, comes from presence, connection, and effort. And your brain can't recognize that anymore. But the good news is this: what was conditioned can be reconditioned. You can rebuild the bridge back to authentic joy. It starts by stepping away from the noise and reconnecting with the parts of life that don't scream for your attention, but quietly wait for you to notice them. Look around and be honest. How much of your daily life is designed around avoiding discomfort? How much of what you do is motivated by the craving for something quick, easy, and instantly satisfying? The truth is, we don't just live in a fast-paced world. We live in a culture addicted to instant gratification. Everything around you has been engineered to deliver pleasure on demand. One tap, and you're entertained. One click, and you're validated. One swipe, and you're distracted. But what no one tells you is that this convenience comes with a cost. And that cost is your depth, your resilience, your sense of purpose. We've built a society that celebrates ease and convenience while quietly eroding our tolerance for effort. We're bombarded with ads that promise happiness in seconds, apps that reward us for doing nothing, and a digital world that's always screaming for our attention. Over time, we stop engaging with things that require patience. We lose interest in anything that doesn't deliver an immediate hit of dopamine. Hard work starts to feel unbearable. Real connection feels awkward. Stillness feels threatening. And then, we wonder why we're miserable. We weren't meant to live like this. Constantly stimulated, endlessly consuming, rarely creating. Life was never supposed to be a highlight reel of shallow pleasures. It was meant to be challenging, meaningful, and real. But modern life has taught us to fear discomfort and chase distraction. And until we recognize that the system is broken, not just within us, but around us, we'll keep feeding the very machine that's stealing our ability to feel alive. But once you see it, you can change it. The first step is awareness. The next is resistance. The truth no one wants to admit is this: real fulfillment doesn't come easy. It doesn't come from comfort, convenience, or shortcuts. It comes from struggle, from patience, from showing up even when you don't feel like it. But we've been conditioned to believe the opposite. We've been told that happiness is something you can click on, stream, or order with overnight shipping. That anything difficult isn't worth doing. And that lie is killing us. Because the most meaningful things in life, building a career you care about, forming deep relationships, getting stronger, learning new skills, healing old wounds, require effort. They take time. They come with failure, frustration, and the kind of silence that forces you to face yourself. And if your brain is addicted to instant pleasure, you'll run from that discomfort every single time. You'll give up when it gets hard. You'll settle for what's easy and wonder why you feel so empty. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's the price of transformation. It's the gym before the strength. The hard conversation before the healing. The early mornings, the lonely nights, the moments when no one is watching, but you still keep going. That's where fulfillment lives. Not in the outcome, but in the process. If you want a meaningful life, you have to stop avoiding discomfort. You have to stop choosing ease just because it feels better in the moment. Growth doesn't come in comfort zones. It comes in the fire. And if you're willing to step into it, even just a little at a time, you'll discover something most people never do. That the hard road is the one that leads you home. You keep telling yourself you're just tired, that you need a few days off, a longer night of sleep, a vacation. But deep down, you know it's more than that. This isn't the kind of exhaustion that rest can fix. This is a weariness of the soul, a heaviness that follows you even when your schedule is light. You wake up and feel it in your chest, that quiet dread of another day that feels just like the last. And even though your body might be functioning, your spirit is running on empty. This isn't physical fatigue, it's existential. It's what happens when you stop living with purpose, when your days are filled with tasks but void of meaning, when you're constantly busy yet never truly moving forward. And the worst part is, most of the world doesn't see it. They look at you and think you're doing fine, but inside, you feel like you're fading, like something essential is slipping away. You're not weak, you're disconnected. Disconnected from your purpose, from your passions, from what used to light you up. And a big part of that disconnection comes from living in a world that constantly pulls your attention away from yourself. You've been distracted for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to be fully present in your own life. You don't need more sleep. You need direction. You need something real to fight for. Something that makes the struggle worth it. Because the deepest kind of tired isn't from doing too much. It's from not doing what matters. And until you face that truth, no amount of rest will ever be enough. It's not just dopamine that's draining you. It's the noise, the endless, invisible storm of information that follows you from the moment you wake up to the moment you collapse into bed. Notifications, headlines, opinions, clickbait, ads, endless content that fills your mind but feeds your soul nothing. You've been taught to believe that being informed or connected is a good thing. But no one warned you about the cost, because this isn't connection, this is consumption. And your mind wasn't built to process this much data. Every 5 minutes, something new demands your attention, hijacks your focus, and scatters your thoughts. It feels normal, because everyone is doing it. But normal doesn't mean healthy. Your brain is on overload, and just like a computer flooded with too many tabs, too many programs, too many pop-ups, it starts to crash. You can't think clearly. You can't focus. You can't even hear your own voice through the noise. The worst part? Most people don't even realize it. They think they have a time problem, a motivation problem, a discipline problem. But what they really have is a clarity problem. And clarity dies in chaos. When your mind is full of other people's thoughts, trends, and drama, there's no room left for your own. You don't need more information. You need space. Space to think, space to feel, space to remember who you are outside the noise. Because the most powerful minds in the world aren't the ones that know everything. They're the ones that know what to ignore. You think you're making choices, but most days you're just reacting. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through someone else's life, let an algorithm decide what you should care about today. You move through your routine like a ghost, not because you don't care, but because you're not fully there. You've been living on autopilot. And the scariest part is, you didn't even notice it happening. At some point, life stopped being something you created and became something you just responded to. You eat when the ad says you're hungry. You laugh when the meme tells you it's funny. You believe what the feed tells you is true. You're not living, you're consuming. And slowly, passively, your identity is being chipped away, not by some catastrophe, but by the quiet repetition of unintentional living. You used to have dreams, things you wanted to build, places you wanted to go. But now your energy is spent just keeping up with trends, with messages, with the endless flood of other people's opinions. You've become more of a spectator than a participant in your own life. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Because once you realize you've been asleep, you have a choice to wake up, to take the wheel, to stop letting your attention be sold to the highest bidder and start using it like it was meant to be used, intentionally, purposefully, powerfully. You were not born to drift, you were born to direct. And every moment you choose awareness over automation, you take one step closer to becoming who you were always meant to be. You don't even recognize yourself anymore, do you? Not because of some dramatic event, but because of 1,000 quiet compromises. Every time you chose distraction over intention, every time you reached for your phone instead of your thoughts, every time you ignored the tug in your chest that whispered, you were meant for more. Yeah, little by little, you've drifted away from who you used to be, who you could be. You were once full of curiosity, creativity, ambition. You had ideas, passions, convictions. But somewhere along the way, those parts of you got buried beneath noise. Scrolling feeds, endless entertainment, constant stimulation. You've become a mirror of your environment, reacting instead of creating, blending in instead of standing out. The tragedy isn't that you've changed, it's that you've faded. You haven't just lost time, you've lost pieces of yourself. This is the cost of living in distraction. It doesn't just waste your day. It erases your identity. It numbs your uniqueness. It flattens you into sameness, into safe routines, into quiet resignation. And the worst part? Most people never even notice it happening. They don't realize until it's too late that they became someone they never meant to be. But you're not too far gone. That person you used to be, the one with fire in their eyes and purpose in their heart, they're still in there, waiting, hoping. You can return to them. But you have to stop running from the silence. Stop drowning in noise. Start choosing the version of you that creates, builds, questions, and lives with intention. Because your identity isn't something the world defines. It's something you reclaim. It's time to face the hardest truth of all. No one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your parents, not a miracle, not some motivational video or life-changing book. No one is going to appear out of nowhere to pull you out of this fog, to rebuild your discipline, to hand you back your focus, your energy, or your purpose. If you're waiting for someone to rescue you, you'll be waiting forever. Because the only person who can change your life is you. That's a heavy truth to carry. But it's also the most liberating one. Because if the problem is in your hands, so is the solution. You are not powerless. You're just distracted. You've spent so long numbing the discomfort, avoiding the hard choices, drowning in instant gratification. that you forgot you're the one who built this cage. And that means you're also the one who can break out of it. You don't need another excuse. You don't need another later. What you need is a decision, a clear, undeniable choice to stop settling, to stop waiting, to stop believing that someday you'll magically become the person you want to be without doing the hard work it requires. Because the truth is, you already have everything it takes. You just haven't demanded it from yourself. Not yet. No one else is responsible for your growth. No one else owes you clarity, energy, or direction. If you want a better life, build it. Brick by brick, choice by choice. And let the foundation be this moment. The moment you stop waiting and start becoming. In a world that's constantly demanding your attention, the greatest freedom isn't financial. It's mental. It's having the ability to focus when everything around you is screaming for distraction. It's being able to sit with your own thoughts without reaching for a screen. It's choosing what matters over what's easy. That is true power. And it's a kind of power most people have forgotten they even have. You don't need to escape your life. You need to reclaim your mind. When you silence the noise, when you stop letting algorithms dictate your desires, you begin to remember who you are. Your energy returns. Your clarity sharpens. Your sense of purpose comes back into focus. Because the real you, the one that isn't addicted to approval or numbed by constant stimulation, was never gone, just buried. Freedom isn't found in doing whatever you want whenever you want. It's found in having control over your own attention, over your habits, over your time. That's what separates people who live with meaning from those who feel lost. So take it back, bit by bit, thought by thought, choice by choice. Reclaim your mind, and you reclaim your life. In a world designed to distract you, the most radical thing you can do is pay attention to your life, your habits, your thoughts. This isn't just about putting your phone down. It's about waking up. Waking up to the fact that your exhaustion isn't laziness. It's a symptom of living without intention. The dopamine-driven culture you're immersed in is robbing you of depth, clarity, and joy. But here's the powerful truth. You can choose differently. You can choose to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with what's real. Start small. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Read a page instead of scrolling. These aren't just habits. They're acts of rebellion against a system that profits from your attention. The life you want, the energy, the meaning, the fulfillment, it's not found in ease or entertainment. It's found in discipline, discomfort, and deliberate action. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You're simply distracted. And the moment you decide to reclaim your mind, you begin the process of reclaiming your life. Because the most important choice you'll ever make is not what to do next, but what to stop doing that's keeping you from becoming who you're meant to be.